This is Justice Now, and this is part of the series of Tips for Black Workers, Part 10. In this particular video, we're going to discuss the importance of maintaining composure. And the reason why it's so important to maintain composure are for the following reasons. A, you can become more aware and process the information as it's happening. B, you can also document the hostilities that are being done against you. And C, you are more professional in how you are handling the situation. So it's good for optics as well. Oftentimes, when working on the job, you are going to be belittled, demeaned, put into traumatic situations where you're basically terrorized. And you're going to be provoked. And these things are, for lack of a better term, meant to provoke a reaction out of you. There's a term called chimping out. It's a racist term. And this is where certain people who designate themselves as white, as well as those who are anti-black, will constantly provoke you to get a reaction out of you, a negative reaction out of you. And then, by getting that negative reaction out of you, they can turn around and point and say, see, we always knew that this person was unstable, or this person is over-emotional, or this person is unprofessional. It's a setup. It's essentially a setup. Your job, in this case, is to counter that. And the ways of countering that is maintaining composure. What do I mean by maintaining composure? A, remain calm. B, talk very little. C, be observant and take in as much information as you can. D, process that information. And E, look at alternative ways to counter that. So A, being very calm. You need to be very calm, because if you are in a heightened state of anger, you will not be able to take in fully what the person has said. You will not be able to take in fully what's going on in the environment. It's very important to remain calm and assess the situation. So it's more of an A-B type of deal. Also, well, I forgot the orders, but we'll go through them nonetheless. You also want to remain unemotional. Although the attack is directed at you, you try to keep it as unemotional as possible. How do you keep unemotional? You go in with the understanding that you are going to be mistreated, which requires a level of acceptance, not acceptance of the traumatic behaviors, but the acceptance that this behavior will occur so that you prepare yourself for it. Oftentimes when people are blindsided by the situation, that's when emotions become heightened, and that's when, the reaction may not be as beneficial to you as you would have liked later on when you look in retrospect as to how you could have handled the situation. So do not refrain from talking back, refrain from becoming so angry that you cannot process what's going on. Also, you don't have to respond. A lot of the TV programs and other programs that we see online, you often have the individual being able to respond. You have the character being able to respond right away. And in real life, that doesn't work, right? We don't have a team of script writers to plan out how a conversation will go. So oftentimes, we don't know what to say as it's happening. And that's okay. In this case, say nothing. You do not have to respond. They're looking for a reaction. You do not have to give a reaction. Listen calmly. You talk very little. You do not say anything, or you talk very little. And talking very little could be in the form of 2 words. That's interesting. Or you could even do mm-hmm, or or you can do I'll think about that. Or thank you for sharing. So that that way, if you feel that you're about to say something that is not going to be beneficial, that using those quick phrases, those types of quick phrases, usually helps. Then, when you get a chance, you write it down in your work journal as to what's occurred. And then from there, you prepare on how you're going to respond, right? See, remember, the provocation again is to seek a reaction from you. And if you keep providing a reaction to those provocations, then what ends up happening is those perpetrators are being reinforced. It's being reinforced so that they know that these are the certain things to provoke you, and this is how they're going to get a reaction out of you. So while your levels of blood pressure is increasing, while your adrenaline is kicking into high gear, they're getting entertainment out of it. They're getting I call it a negativity fix. Like addicts, they get, they're negativity addicts, and they're getting a negativity fix, right? So they're going to you as the supply to get that negativity fix so that they can go through their day, because there's something defective with them. So what you want to do is you want to stop that, because when you stop providing a reaction, then it forces them to find some kind of alternate means to get their negativity fix. It may also result in you not being provoked as much anymore, because they're not going to get the reaction that they're looking for, and they may seek another source of supply. That is rare. Often, other times, they will just continue to provoke you in other ways, of which you can still provide the same response, which is either 2 words, that's interesting, or you could even just walk away. Silence is also very powerful. When you're taking in the environment of where this is being held, is this being done in front of other people? If it is, you also need to take that into consideration. And in fact, in the next video, I'm going to talk about how you are constantly being spied upon for a variety of reasons. This is one of the things that they will try to set you up in, to provide evidence for their false narrative of you. So, and oftentimes you're also being set up in that process. So by keeping calm, by taking in the information, You're recognizing, okay, if this is in front of an audience, then for optics, it would be in your best interest to remain calm. If anyone were to go back and say, well, you know, so and so said this, but Justice Now um, didn't, all she said was, that's interesting. That's benefit for you because it makes the perpetrator look like the aggressor that they are, right? You don't ever want to react in a way that is highly emotional. As irritating as it is, you want to make sure that you are reacting or responding in a way that for optics, it looks good on you and it makes the perpetrator look like the aggressor that they are, right? So that way it makes it even harder. And it also works to your advantage because then if your response later on, when you're reviewing it in your work journal and you're doing a plan of action of how to respond to it, and that could be a couple days later, it could be a week later, then you can always bring it to the supervisor, manager, HR. Okay, this is what's happened. These are the people that were involved, and this was my response. You don't want to ever have to say, oh, well, this person provoked me so much that I responded in rage, because then they'll turn around and say that you're the aggressor. As screwed up as it is, that's what usually happens. So keep that in mind. Keep a calm composure. Watch your composure. Practice. Practice your composure. These things do not develop overnight. Sometimes the situations are so difficult that in order to have that sense of justice, in order to feel that you're in control of the situation, you want to respond in kind. Again, I'm going to urge you to refrain from doing so. At this point, what you want to do is have the aggressors, the perpetrators, look like the aggressors that they are. And that you do not respond in kind. It will make it also very easy to figure out who is the aggressor and who is not. So, keep that in mind. I hope this was helpful. If you have any experiences to share, please comment below. And stay tuned for the next one where I'll talk about how you are being spied upon at all times in the workplace. Thank you.